Oh, these Cleveland Browns. I tell you, being a fan of the Browns, you just have to have some sort of blind faith that they're going to figure out how to make it work, and probably more importantly that they're not going to just make it not work at the very end when they have the lead. And all year you've been seeing that they've been able to get to that point where they really start looking fantastic, and then they just start being Browns again. And it's been okay because we've been getting the wins, and people have been okay on the team being role players because we've been getting the wins. But, here we go with the loss. And I can't help but think every single time that we play against these Steelers, I just feel like they're an old team. I mean, they're just random pieces put together. They really shouldn't ever be as effective as they are, but they always make it happen. And I guess a lot of that can be attributed to their coaches. A lot of that could just be their culture. But I mean, it's to the point now where they've been so successful for so long that anytime we play them, the commentators are just pointing out the times where, they shellacked us in the past and how terrible we are. And, Ben Roethlisberger has scored more points than any Browns quarterback and just things like that. I mean, you get used to hearing that stuff. In fact, the entire time we've been winning this year, all I've been hearing from these commentators, all I've been hearing from the talking heads is just more and more bullshit about how, they're 4-1 for the first time since 1994, and they're 3-1 since what? I mean, can't we ever get any good stats? I mean, I'm out here watching, somebody talk about that Cowboys game where we're probably the most dominant offense that we've ever had, and it was all just like, well, look how bad the Cowboys are, though. Cowboys are just terrible. And anytime we play a local team, I mean, we beat the Colts. They were supposed to be the best defense in all of football at the time, and all I'm hearing this week is just, Phillip Rivers, he's getting old. Maybe we should make a change, I mean, they could have beat them. But they had one of their key defenders out. Why am I never hearing about the Browns defenders? I mean, we've been missing most of our people for the entire year. We don't have a safety to speak of. We're just out here putting random people in random positions, hoping that it'll work. And it has, all the way up till today. And I think we tried to get too cute, not going with the run. I mean, the run was working for us, and then we tried to have Baker throw passes. I don't think you put Baker Mayfield in if there's any doubt at all that he is not super swagged out Baker. If he's even a little bit injured, this guy can't take a hit. He gets hit like one or two times, he gets scared, he starts running around, he makes stupid decisions. That first interception made no sense, just like many of his other interceptions. Last year, I was making the case all the time. The ball bounced off somebody's hands, I mean, these aren't Baker's fault. But this year, they're just Baker's fault. He's just giving the ball to people. And he doesn't need to be. They've simplified the offense so much that, at this point, I'm okay with Case Keenum coming in a little bit. Maybe we save ourselves some embarrassment. We keep a little momentum. We just start Case Keenum during this game instead of watch, Baker Mayfield just struggle through the whole thing. But we didn't. And then he came at the halftime. We didn't have a game plan for him. He made a couple of good passes, but, he couldn't get it going. It just didn't seem like Kevin Stefanski really thought this through. More growing pains for us. I don't know how many years it's going to take us before we actually get to a point where we can just talk about the wins and how good the team is doing instead of okay, this is a catastrophic loss. I might not even watch sports TV this week because they're just going to be like, well, here's the Browns again, being the Browns. No, the Browns lose the game in the end after winning the whole time. This time they really just got shellacked. It's like in week one, they weren't prepared for that. But, we can sit around making these comparisons. I hear this stuff all the time. Okay, well, talk about the Colts right now. Just barely beat the Bengals, who are apparently a terrible team because it's a terrible team that we played. We can't get any credit for beating them, so they're a terrible team. But they beat, or almost beat, the best defense in the NFL, just like we did. So we make that comparison. I mean, Cowboys had the best offense, but we were able to stop them more than our offense. Does that make our offense better? Does that make our defense better? I mean, these comparisons just have no place, but during the week, during the times when you hear these supposed analysts, the people paid money to actually make these brilliant calls, they're just going to sit there and try to say, the Browns only have this record because they beat bad teams. Well, not really. But, that's what we're going to hear. But, throughout the game, it just seemed like we got away from the run game. Seems pretty simply like that's what we need to do, is have the run game be our main thing. And, Nick Chubb is out, I get it. But Kareem Hunt's been serviceable. Johnson's been all right. He's had a couple of good plays. Why aren't we throwing some nice little, quick routes to these running backs on the side? I mean, they've showed they can make people miss. Odell Beckham can make people miss. Instead, we're trying to do these silly things. It just makes no sense. I mean, they wanted to throw a check down. Baker just gave it right to the opposing team. I mean, couldn't even throw a check down right. So it's like, something's wrong with him here. How long does it take us to realize something's wrong with him? So, I mean, I'll give Kevin Stefanski a lot of credit for the things he's done to make us look better so far. But, I mean, is this much different than that first year when Baker came in and set this record for rookie passing touchdowns? And what did that do for us? Nothing. I mean, at this point, I'm off the Baker train. I was never on it when we actually picked him up at first. And then I kind of thought after that first year, maybe it's possible. People talked me into it. But now I'm just off the train again. It's like he just has no redeeming qualities. Anybody else could be better than him, and he's not even accurate anymore, and that was the thing that people loved about him. He could throw these accurate passes on the run, but he can't do that now. His bullets are missing. I mean, I don't want the team to cave in, all right? We've had some good weeks so far, some good wins, and, you know, it's a shame that now we're going to have to face some adversity because, you know, we're heading into some easier games this time, and I don't want to have to switch things up. I want us to keep doing what we were doing and get better at it, you know? I mean, I don't know that we really expected the Browns to win every game, and I don't really think that we even expected them to beat the Steelers both times, or the Ravens both times. So, you know, this isn't the worst thing, but man, they could have kept it closer. There could have really just been anything in there for us to look at, for us to get excited about, but there just wasn't. It just was like a big empty game of just like, don't feel too terrible about yourself. But I don't know, you know, we're going to have to pick it up and have a better coming weeks. I mean, where was Myles Garrett? He's on a milk carton out there somewhere because we can't find him. I'm going to call the police after this and put out a bolo, see if we can find Myles Garrett. But I don't know, you know, I mean, until we're all healthy, I don't know that we can really see the true potential of the team. And to be honest, I just don't think that we're going to be able to win if we're relying on Baker to do a lot of throwing. And I mean, you know, if I'm going to say that out loud, if everyone's going to be saying that out loud, if we're going to recognize that that's the case, then we also need to recognize that maybe Baker isn't the guy. I mean, I know we can't just draft somebody right now, and I know we can't just pick somebody up. And Case Keenum, you know, has already had a better record than Baker Mayfield has in a season. So, I don't know, you know, maybe we don't completely roll the dice, but this could have been just a quick game. Like, let's get Baker some time to heal. Let's bring in Case Keenum, see what he can do. And if he's really electric and things are working, then maybe we can start having discussions like that. But I don't know, you know, I mean, it's classic Browns thing. We always switch too quick, and everyone always hates on us for that. And I think that's a big problem with the Browns is they're always pushed around by the media, and they're always having to hear about people with their different opinions of how our team should look. And, I mean, rightfully so. We've been a pretty weird team that changes all the time, but I just don't know, you know. I mean, at this point, I think that we have things that are working, but we really need to just stick to it. I mean, we should have been running, even when we were behind. I mean, I don't know. You can't get behind 10 right away like that. And Baker can't just gift wrap all these touchdowns. I mean, we stopped them so many times in that first quarter, all for nothing, because we couldn't end up coming back and doing anything. It's like, if we're going to be throwing the ball all over the place, then, you know, I guess why don't we just start throwing it up to Odell? Let him make his own chances at it. If it's going to be an interception, I'd rather be an interception down there on the 20-yard line or something, because it was a bobbled ball by Odell, and then we have time to stop the guy, not on some short route where he has to do a quick run around and score a touchdown. So, lots to build on here. I don't know. Better team for sure this year, but just fundamentally not good enough to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers yet. So, we'll have to hopefully stay in the good mindset. I hope the locker room is under control. I hope Kevin Stefanski goes in there and says, you know, guys, we did some things right today. I mean, not a lot of things right, but we did some things right. And, you know, we're going to have to build off of what we know we can do and just really just have to work on either Baker just not throwing the ball much at all, or, you know, maybe Case Keenum gets a couple of tries because he really seems to be the better passer and the more comfortable guy in this position. You know, and I mean, as far as backups go, I don't know. I don't want to say that, you know, Dak Prescott with his amazing record leaving was a good thing because Andy Dalton's going to come in and be a more steady hand. But Baker Mayfield really has no amazing record here. You know, I mean, he's really just sort of struggling year to year. And I remember several times this year saying things like, yeah, hey, this is 3 games in a row Baker didn't throw an interception. You know, like it's like I'm my own self-hater here, you know. I hate the people who point these bad things out, but it's like, it's true, you know. Maybe he's turned a corner because he's not throwing these interceptions. And then, you know, that's just become all he's done this last 2 games. So he's getting back into it. Whatever was working at first is not working for him. So they either need to really figure out how to get him back to where he was, or maybe give him some time off, because it could be an injury. He's never going to tell you he's too hurt. He's just going to keep going around saying, oh yeah, no, I'll play. But let's stop letting him tell us what to do. We literally hired a coach just to have him tell that coach what to do. And it was the worst the Browns have ever been. So let's just stop letting this guy have all the run. Maybe we keep considering him as our quarterback, and, you know, maybe we still plan for him and things like that. But somebody upstairs needs to start thinking, this isn't working, because it really is just getting painful to watch.